Jason stepped out of his Mercedes into the rain, irritated that some random accident was blocking his convoy, when he heard a child screaming with pure rage. "Don't touch her! I protect my mom!" The voice pulled him forward against every security protocol, and then he saw the boy. Fists raised at guards 3 times his size, standing exactly the way Jason stood when facing down enemies, and when their eyes met, Jason was staring at his own face in miniature. Dark eyes, unmistakable genetics, his son. A son he never knew existed. Then he turned and saw her. Loretta. The woman whose funeral he'd stood through 5 years ago. The woman he'd mourned until it turned him into a monster. Alive. She was alive. And she'd been here all this time on the other side of the world, raising his child, building a life, while he'd been destroying himself over a ghost. So, let me tell you about the audacity of men who think women are transactions. Pause for a second and think about that. Loretta should have run the moment Kang Jae-sun's lawyer slid that contract across the table. But did she? No, because she loved him. Let that sink in for a moment. She actually loved this man. And he? He treated her like a subscription service for his dying grandmother. Welcome to the channel, lovelies. Please like and subscribe. Loretta sat across from 3 lawyers in suits. The contract was 12 pages long, each page defining exactly what she meant to Jae-sun. Attend family dinners, visit grandmother twice weekly. She read every word while Jason stood by the window, back turned, phone pressed to his ear. Talking business, always business. Miss Campbell, if you'll sign here, here, and initial here. The lawyer's finger tapped each yellow flag. Jason never turned around. Not once. She could see his reflection in the window glass. Grandmother expects you for dinner Thursday. 7 sharp. Don't be late. He didn't wait for her response. The door closed behind him. You see what's happening here? She's signing a contract to be a fake girlfriend, and he can't even give her 5 minutes of his actual attention. But it gets worse. So much worse. 3 months into the contract, there was a gala, some charity event for children's hospitals. Loretta wore the dress his assistant had selected. Black, elegant, expensive. She stood beside Jae-sun in the reception line while he greeted and introduced everyone. Everyone except Loretta. She stood right there, right beside him. His hand occasionally touched her lower back to guide her forward in line, but no introduction, no acknowledgement. She was a decorative piece, living furniture in a black dress. She was invisible, bought, paid for, invisible. That night she cried in the guest house bathroom. She'd loved a version of Jason she'd created in her head, kind, capable of growth. But that man wasn't real. The real Jason showed up 2 months later, middle of the night. Grandmother was dying. The doctors said weeks, maybe days. And grandmother had one final wish. A great-grandchild. An heir to carry forward the family name. Jason stood in the doorway of the guest house at 2 a.m, still wearing his suit from whatever meeting had kept him out past midnight. His tie was loosened. His eyes were hollow. Grandmother asked for something. I told her yes. Loretta knew what he meant before he said it. She could see it in the way he looked at her. Not with desire, not with affection, with duty. It happened once, emotionless. He was gentle in the mechanical way someone handles expensive equipment, careful not to damage the merchandise. After he dressed in the dark, buttoned his shirt, fixed his tie. The doctor can confirm pregnancy in 2 weeks. Let me know the results. He left, didn't stay, didn't hold her, didn't pretend this was anything except another clause in their contract. She lay there in the dark listening to his steps fade away and wondered how she'd fallen this far. 2 weeks later, alone in that same bathroom, Loretta watched 2 pink lines appear on the pregnancy test. Her hands shook so hard the test clattered into the sink. She pressed her palm flat against her stomach. Terror and joy fought a war in her chest. A baby. His baby. She'd have someone to love who might actually love her back. But this baby meant she was tied to Jae-sun forever, tied to a man who couldn't even look at her during a contract signing. And this is the man she was about to tell she was pregnant? This man who treated her like furniture? She called his office. His assistant answered. "Mr. Kang is in meetings until 6. I can schedule you for tomorrow." "It's important. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock. I'll put you in the calendar." Loretta hung up. She had news that would change everything, and she needed an appointment to deliver it. 3 days passed. She finally got her meeting. But before she could walk into his office, she overheard something in the hallway. The Black Lotus wants to send a message. They're targeting someone close to Mr. Jae-sun. They mentioned the Campbell woman, the contract girlfriend. There's a price on her head. 50 million won. Silence. Loretta pressed against the wall. Her heart hammered. Well, she's temporary. I'm sure Jae-sun wouldn't matter. Loretta's blood went cold. She stood there, hand over her still flat stomach. She was marked for death and Jae-sun didn't even know. She walked toward his office anyway. Maybe he'd explain. Maybe there was context she'd missed. Through the glass walls she could see him clearly. Meeting in progress. He was laughing. Actually laughing at something one of his associates said. Easy, relaxed. While she was marked for murder, his assistant appeared. "Miss Campbell?" "Mr. Kang is running behind. He asked if you could reschedule." Loretta saw her reflection in that office glass and she knew at that moment he wouldn't protect her, so she'd protect herself. Do you blame her? Seriously, tell me in the comments if you blame her because I absolutely don't. What would you do? The decision took 3 days to plan. Loretta had money saved, the monthly allowance she'd barely touched. She contacted people who specialized in disappearing, fake passport, new identity, a route that couldn't be traced. She left everything that connected her to Jae-sun except one thing, the baby, that she kept. 3 days later, they pulled a body from the Han River, burned beyond recognition. Loretta's jewelry melted into the skin, Loretta's clothes in tatters. Dental records were impossible. DNA was compromised. But the evidence was clear enough for the police report. Loretta Campbell, deceased, case closed. But Loretta? Loretta was on a plane to Singapore with a fake passport, a baby in her belly, and absolutely nothing left to lose. Jae-sun stood alone at the funeral. No umbrella. Rain soaked his clothes, plastered his hair to his forehead. He didn't move, didn't cry. His eyes were fixed on that casket like if he stared hard enough, he could change reality through sheer force of will. Oh, now he feels something. Now? After she's supposedly dead, he suddenly discovers emotions. But it gets darker. Watch what guilt does to a man who's never felt it before. Grandmother died 3 months later. Just slipped away in her sleep. The doctors said her heart gave out. Jae-sun knew better. She died of disappointment. Her last words to him were about Loretta. "That sweet girl. You never deserved her. I hope she's at peace." He didn't attend his grandmother's funeral. Couldn't. Mrs. Park handled the arrangements. The associates whispered about it. The great Kang Jae-sun, too broken to bury his own grandmother. His empire expanded after that. Grew like a cancer, aggressive, consuming. His methods changed. Where before he'd been calculating, now he was cruel. Enemies didn't just lose business deals anymore. They disappeared. Completely. The associates learned fast. Don't mention her name. Don't reference the contract. Don't even think about the brown woman who died in the river. One executive made a careless joke about girlfriends being replaceable. They never found all of him. Jae-sun's penthouse became a mausoleum. He kept her contract framed on his desk, just staring at that contract, not drinking, not working, just staring. 5 years of regret will do things to a man, turn him inside out, make him monster-shaped. This is what happens when you don't appreciate what you have until it's burned beyond recognition in a river. But let me tell you about what really happened to Loretta while Jae-sun was becoming a monster in Seoul. Singapore lasted 3 months, long enough for her to breathe, to think, to plan the next move. She worked cash jobs, cleaning hotels, washing dishes. Her belly grew. The baby kicked. She was alone, but she was alive. Morocco came next. 6 months in Casablanca. The baby came early, 3 weeks before her due date. Labour started at 2 a.m. in her tiny apartment. She made it to the hospital. Barely. "Is someone coming?" the nurse asked, seeing Loretta alone in the delivery room. "No, nobody's coming." 15 hours of labour. Alone, no hand to hold, no partner to curse at. Just her, and the pain, and the absolute certainty that she'd made the right choice. Because a man who wouldn't protect her alive sure as hell wouldn't show up for this. The baby was a boy, perfect, beautiful. He had his father's eyes, dark and sharp and seeing everything. She named him Kang Min, kept his father's name as the middle name. She told herself it was for the baby's heritage. Really, she just couldn't let go completely. Being a single mother in Morocco was hard. Being a black single mother with a half-Korean baby and no support system was harder. She worked 3 jobs, carried Kang Min in a wrap while she cleaned offices at night. Fed him while studying language books to improve her Spanish for the next country. Slept in 2-hour bursts. Argentina lasted a year, then Chile, then finally New Zealand. Auckland felt different, felt possible, felt like maybe she could build something permanent. Kang Min was 2 when she met Daniel. Emergency room, 3 a.m. Her baby had a fever that wouldn't break. She'd been awake for 36 hours working double shifts, and the fear had her by the throat. Daniel was Korean-American. Warm eyes, gentle hands. He treated Kang Min's fever and didn't ask questions about why she was alone. Didn't push when she was vague about the father. Just made sure her baby was safe. They ran into each other again at a grocery store, then at a park. Then he asked her to coffee and she said yes because he felt safe. Because safe was something she hadn't felt in 3 years. The relationship grew slowly. Daniel met Kang Min properly, became part of their routine, showed up for the little things, fixed her broken sink, brought soup when Kang Min had another fever, made her laugh. Actually made her laugh. Loretta had changed. Her hair was longer, natural. She'd stopped straightening it, stopped trying to fit into Jason's world of polished perfection. She had laugh lines now, smile creases, proof that joy was possible after everything. Kang Min called Daniel Danny, started looking for him when he came home from daycare. Her son's face would light up. Real happiness. The kind kids can't fake. She rebuilt herself. No mafia money, no man saving her. Just her and her baby and sheer stubborn will. She worked her way up from cleaning hotels to managing them, put herself through online business courses, created a life that was hers. For 5 years, they existed in separate worlds. Jae-sun was hunting ghosts in Seoul, turning his grief into violence. Loretta was building a future in Auckland, turning her survival into strength. His world was getting darker. Hers was finally getting light. But fate? Fate has terrible timing. The worst timing. The kind of timing that takes 2 people who've finally found their separate paths and throws them into collision at exactly the wrong moment. Or maybe exactly the right one. Okay. This is the moment. This is where everything explodes. Are you ready? Because I was not ready the first time I thought this through. This is the part where the universe looks at 2 people who've spent 5 years running in opposite directions and says, not today. Auckland rain is different from Seoul rain. Softer, steady. The kind that makes the roads slick but doesn't feel angry. Loretta drove through it easily. She'd done this route 1,000 times. Kang Min was in his car seat behind her, singing some song from daycare. Off-key. Enthusiastic. Perfect. Mommy, after we pick up Danny, can we get ice cream? Baby, it's raining. Ice cream doesn't care about rain, she laughed, checked her rearview mirror. His little face was so serious, so convinced that ice cream was a fundamental right regardless of weather. God, she loved this kid, this perfect, stubborn, brilliant kid. The intersection ahead had a green light. She maintained speed. Kangmin kept singing. Then a truck ran the red light doing 60 in a 40 zone. Loretta saw it. 1 second to react. She jerked the wheel hard right. Not enough. Not nearly enough. Metal screamed. Physics took over. The world flipped. Glass exploded. Sound became pain, became darkness. Her last conscious thought was her son's voice calling, "Mommy!" Then nothing. 3 blocks away, Jason's convoy moved through the same rain. Black Mercedes, tinted windows, 6 vehicles total. He was in Auckland for an international meeting. He sat in the back seat reviewing contracts on his tablet. His head of security drove. 2 guards in the front vehicle, 2 in the rear. Standard protocol for foreign operations. The convoy slowed, stopped. Traffic backing up ahead. Jason didn't look up. What's the delay? Accident blocking the intersection. Emergency vehicles just arrived. Clear it. We're late. Boss, it looks bad. Multiple vehicles. They're still extracting people. Jason's jaw ticked. Finger tapped against his tablet. Time was money. Delays were unacceptable. How long? Could be 20 minutes. Go around. No alternate route. We're blocked in. Jason finally looked up. Red and blue lights strobed through the rain. His irritation spiked. Other people's carelessness affecting his schedule. Go clear it, Jason said again. The guards exited the vehicles. Then Jason heard it. A child's voice cutting through rain and engine noise and radio chatter. Not crying, yelling. Don't touch her. I protect my mom. I protect her. Something in Jason's chest cracked. Sharp, unexpected. He knew that tone. That fury, on that absolute refusal to back down despite impossible odds. He knew it because he'd invented it. Boss, there's a kid. Jason was already opening the door. His head of security protested. Sir, we haven't secured. Stay with the vehicle. He stepped into the rain. Something he never did. Let guards handle outside problems. Stay protected. Stay separate. But that voice... that child's voice pulled him forward like a rope around his ribs. The scene was chaos, and there, in the middle of it all, a small boy, soaked to the skin, standing guard over the wreck, fists raised at guards 3 times his size. 0 fear, only fury. Jason's security team had reached the accident first. One guard tried to move the boy to safety. The kid swung at him, actually swung. Tiny fists against tactical gear. No, I stay with my mom. You can't make me leave her. Jason walked closer. The boy was maybe 4, maybe 5, small for his age but standing like he was 10 feet tall. His stance was all wrong for a child. Feet planted, shoulders back, weight balanced, ready to fight. And Jason knew that stance, knew it bone deep because it was his. The exact way he stood when facing down threats. The exact positioning his trainer had drilled into him at 8 years old. He looked closer. The boy's face, sharp eyes, determined jaw, features that were familiar in a way that made his hands go numb. Then the boy turned, looked directly at Jason. Their eyes met, dark, sharp, unyielding. Jason was looking at his own eyes in a child's face. Time stopped. The rain kept falling, but Jason couldn't feel it. Everything narrowed to this boy, this impossible boy. His guard approached the kid again. Son, we need to get you somewhere safe. I'm not your son. Leave me alone. Leave him. Jason's voice cut through everything. Quiet. Absolute authority. Everyone stopped. The boy looked at him. Really looked. Neither of them looked away. The moment stretched. Firefighters arrived at the scene and were trying to get a better angle on the overturned SUV. As they shifted the wreck, Jason could finally see inside. His heart stopped. Brown skin, blood on her temple, unconscious but breathing. Loretta. Alive. His Loretta. Alive. Here. Real. 5 years of grief crashed into him like a physical blow. His knees nearly buckled. He caught himself on the car frame, grabbed metal to stay standing because nothing else was solid anymore. Dead. She was supposed to be dead. He'd stood in the rain at her funeral. He'd kept her contract on his desk like a shrine. He'd spent 5 years turning his guilt into a weapon. And she'd been here, alive, with a child who had his eyes and skin, his son. The boy was his son. The timeline clicked into place. The night grandmother was dying, the baby she'd wanted. Loretta had been pregnant when she disappeared. "Sir, do you know these people?" His head of security appeared at his elbow. Jae-sun couldn't answer, couldn't form words. He was staring at Loretta's unconscious face, memorizing it, confirming it was real, that she was real. The boy was yelling again. EMTs were trying to extract Loretta from the vehicle. The kid was fighting them with everything he had. "Don't hurt her, be careful, she's my mom." Jae-sun moved without thinking, walked straight to the boy. The child spun on him, fists up. Ready to fight a full-grown man, Jae-sun knelt, got down in the puddle. Eye level, rain pouring over both of them. "I'll protect her." The boy's eyes narrowed. Suspicious. "You promise?" Nobody asked Kang Jae-sun for promises. Nobody questioned him. Nobody made demands. But this boy, this 4-year-old with his genetics and his fury, stared him down like an equal. "I promise." "You swear? You swear you won't let anything bad happen?" "I swear it." The first promise he'd kept about her. The first real vow he'd made since she'd signed that contract. The boy studied his face, looking for lies, looking for weakness. Finally, slowly, he stepped aside. Tears were coming now, the adrenaline wearing off. Fear replacing fury. She has to be okay, she has to. She will be. Jae-sun stood, signaled his team. "Get them both to the hospital, now." "My vehicles, my security." "Boss, the meeting..." "Cancel it." The EMTs had Loretta on a backboard. Jae-sun moved forward. "I'll carry her." "Sir, we have procedures." "I will carry her." His voice dropped into that register that ended arguments. The EMTs stepped back. Jae-sun lifted her himself, cradled her against his chest. She was lighter than he remembered, felt smaller, fragile. Her head rolled against his shoulder, blood matted her hair. He could feel her breathing. Alive. She was alive. His son was right there, walking beside him. One small hand reached up, grabbed Loretta's hand where it hung limp. The boy held on, wouldn't let go even as they loaded her into Jae-sun's Mercedes. The convoy reversed, headed for Auckland General. Jae-sun held Loretta in the back seat. His son held her hand. The boy was crying quietly now. Trying to be brave. Failing. Is she going to die? No. Jae-sun said it with absolute certainty, like he could command reality, like his will alone could keep her breathing. "How do you know?" "Because I won't allow it." The boy looked at him. Something like belief flickered across his face. "Okay." His son just extracted a promise from a mafia boss. 4 years old and already more of a man than his father ever was. Already protecting his mother. Already demanding vows and holding people accountable. They rushed through Auckland traffic, lights and sirens courtesy of Jae-sun's security team. The hospital appeared. Emergency entrance. Jae-sun carried Loretta through the doors himself. Wouldn't let anyone else touch her. "We need a doctor. Now." Staff scrambled. Someone directed them to a trauma bay. Jae-sun laid her on the gurney. Or stepped back. His hands were shaking. A doctor appeared. Started examining her. Calling out vitals. Orders, medical terminology Jae-sun didn't understand. He stood there useless while strangers worked to save her. His son was beside him, still crying, still terrified. Jae-sun looked down at this boy. His boy, didn't know what to do, how to comfort, how to be what this child needed. Then, somewhere in the emergency room, someone's phone buzzed. A nurse picked it up from Loretta's belongings. The screen lit up. A contact photo. A man's smiling face. A name. Fiancé. Oh, this is about to get messy. Now, I need you to imagine being Jae-sun right now. Really imagine it. You just found the woman you mourned for 5 years. You just met your son. You're feeling things you haven't felt since the night she died, and then he walks in. And Jae-sun sat in a plastic chair that was too small for his frame. His suit was still wet from the rain. Loretta's blood was on his sleeve. He stared at it. Proof she was real. Kang-min was in the pediatric treatment area, visible through the window. A nurse was cleaning cuts on his arms, checking for injuries. The boy was being brave, chin up, not crying, but Jae-sun could see the fear, the way his eyes kept darting to the trauma bay where they'd taken Loretta. A doctor came out, young, tired. Family of Loretta Campbell? Jae-sun stood. How is she? Are you her husband? The word stuck in his throat. What was he? Her former employer, the father of her child, the man who'd driven her to fake her own death. I brought her in, he replied. I can only discuss her condition with immediate family. Before he could respond, the elevator dinged. Doors opened. A man stepped out, tall, broad shoulders, doctor's coat over casual clothes. He moved with easy confidence, not rushed, controlled. He scanned the waiting room, spotted the pediatric area. His face changed, softened. Kang-min. The boy's face transformed. All that brave stoicism shattered. Pure joy. Danny! He ran. The nurse tried to stop him, but he was already out the door. The man caught him, lifted him easily, checked his injuries with professional gentleness. Doctor's hands examining his son. You okay, buddy? Let me see. These cuts don't look too bad. Did they hurt? A little. But I was brave. I protected Mom like you taught me. I know you did. I'm so proud of you. He held Kang-min close. The boy buried his face in the man's shoulder, finally letting himself be small. I'm finally feeling safe enough to break. Is Mom okay? Nobody will tell me if she's okay. I just checked on her before I came up here. She's going to be fine. Want to see her? Yes. Jae-sun watched this entire exchange, frozen. This man had clearly done this before, been the father, been the comfort, been everything Jae-sun wasn't. The man finally looked over, acknowledged Jae-sun's existence. You must be the one who got them here safely. Thank you for that. Polite, sincere, grateful. It made something ugly twist in Jae-sun's chest. Who are you? The question came out harder than intended, dangerous quiet. I'm Daniel Sujin. He extended his free hand, still holding Kang-min with the other. Her fiancé. The word hit like a bullet. Fiancé. She was engaged. To this man. This man who made his son laugh and checked injuries with gentle hands and clearly belonged in their lives. Jae-sun didn't take the offered hand, just stared at it. At this man who'd taken his place, this good man, this present man, this man who'd been here. The audacity. This man really just introduced himself as her fiancé. Actually, wait. No. Jae-sun, you have no right to be jealous. None. This man was here. Where were you? Mourning a woman you never appreciated while she was alive. Daniel lowered his hand, not offended, just reassessing. Do you know Loretta? What could he say? Yes, I employed her as a contract girlfriend. Yes, I got her pregnant and then failed to protect her. Yes, I'm the reason she's been hiding on the other side of the world. Before he could answer, a nurse appeared. Dr. Sujin, Ms. Campbell. She's asking for her son. Let's go see Mom. Daniel adjusted Kang-min on his hip, started toward the observation area. Jae-sun followed. He didn't decide to. His body just moved, following Loretta, following his son, following this little family that existed without him. The observation room was small, curtained. Loretta was sitting up in the bed, white bandage on her temple, hospital gown, IV in her arm. But awake, she saw Kang Min first. Her face crumpled with relief. "Baby, come here." Daniel set the boy on the bed carefully. Loretta wrapped him in her arms, checked him over, touched his face, his arms, counting fingers like she'd done when he was born. "I'm okay, Mom. Danny says you're okay too." "I'm okay, we're both okay." Daniel stood beside the bed, his hand on Loretta's shoulder. Familiar, comfortable, a unit. Then Loretta looked up, saw Jae-soon standing in the doorway. Every muscle in her body went rigid. Her arms tightened around Kang Min. Her eyes went wide and immediately hard. Shock into fury in half a second. "What are you doing here?" Her voice was hoarse from the accident, rough, but sharp enough to cut. Daniel looked between them, confused. "You know him?" Kang Min shifted in her arms, sensing the tension. "Mum?" Jason still couldn't speak. His brain had stopped at the sight of her conscious, looking at him, hating him, alive and hating him and alive. "Get out." Each word was deliberate, final. "Yes, that's what I'm talking about. She doesn't owe him anything. 5 years of freedom and she's not going to let him destroy it with guilt or explanations or whatever he thinks he's owed." Daniel read the room. Smart man. To good instincts. "Kang Min, let's go get something from the cafeteria. Give your mum a minute. But come on, buddy. We'll get you hot chocolate. The good kind with extra marshmallows." The bribe worked. Kang Min reluctantly let go of Loretta. Daniel lifted him, carried him toward the door. They left. Daniel's footsteps faded down the hallway, Kang Min's voice asking about marshmallows getting quieter. Then silence. Just Jae-sun and Loretta. Alone for the first time in 5 years. The door clicks shut. 5 years of grief. 5 years of lies. 5 years of a son he never knew existed. And Loretta looks at the man she loved, the man she ran from, the man she buried, and she feels absolutely nothing. Well, maybe not nothing. Maybe rage. Maybe the kind of anger that's been aging like wine for 5 years. What do you think she's going to say? What would you say? So remember that hit that was placed on Loretta 5 years ago? Remember how she ran across 4 countries to stay alive? Well, guess what happens when a dead woman suddenly shows up in a hospital with a mafia boss's convoy parked outside? People notice. And not the good kind of noticing. Jae-sun stood by the window, hands in his pockets. Back to her. He wouldn't even look at her. Coward. "You faked your death," he said, like he was confirming a business deal gone wrong. Loretta's laugh was sharp, bitter. "You ignored me." She matched his tone perfectly. Cold. Flat. 2 people who'd once shared a bed now couldn't even face each other. The standoff stretched. The machines beeped. The hospital hummed. Everything felt too loud and too quiet at the same time. The boy," Jae-sun started. "Has a name," Loretta cut him off, sharp as broken glass. "Kang Min." He said it like a prayer, like the name was holy, like saying it made the boy more real. "Is he mine?" Loretta laughed again. This time it was colder. "Now you care?" "Is he mine?" Louder. Control slipping. The great Kang Jae-sun finally losing his grip. She just stared, silent. Let him suffer in the not knowing. He turned then. "He has my eyes, my stance, my—" He stopped, swallowed hard. "You know he's mine. He's mine." Loretta's voice was fierce, protective, a mother bear protecting her cub. "I raised him. I protected him. I kept him alive when you—" "When I what?" Jae-sun finally faced her fully, hands out of his pockets, fists clenched. "When I mourned you. When I destroyed everything trying to— When you couldn't even look at me." Loretta tried to sit up straighter despite her injuries. Her ribs screamed, but she didn't care. "I was dying, Jae-sun. There was a hit on my life, and you were in a meeting." The words hung in the air like smoke. Thick, choking. Jae-sun froze. His face went blank. What threat? His voice dropped to that deadly quiet, the tone that made grown men confess to things they hadn't even done yet. Loretta told him everything. The conversation she'd overheard, the rival clan, Black Lotus, the price on her head. 50 million won for a contract girlfriend. She watched his face change, confusion first, then realization, then horror creeping in like water through cracks. I didn't know. The words were pathetic, weak, everything he wasn't supposed to be. You didn't care to know. Loretta's truth cut like a knife. Clean. Precise. I called your office. I made an appointment. I stood outside your door while you laughed with your associates, while I was marked for death. Each word was a wound, each detail a blade finding soft tissue. I was coming to tell you I was pregnant. Her voice cracked, just slightly. With your child. And your assistant told me you were too busy, that I should reschedule. Jason's face went white. Actually white. Like all the blood had drained straight to his feet. So, I saved myself. Loretta lifted her chin. Proud despite everything, despite the hospital gown and the bandages, and the fact that she was trapped in a room with the man who'd destroyed her. I saved my son. By letting me think you were dead? His voice broke on the last word. Actually broke. For 5 years? By staying alive. Loretta was completely unapologetic. I chose life over you. I'd do it again. The door opened. Perfect timing. Daniel walked in with Kang Min on his hip. Hot chocolate mustache on the boy's face. Marshmallow stuck to his cheek. Jason looked at them. This ready-made family. This man who knew how to get marshmallows out of a 4-year-old's hair. This man who belonged. He left without another word. Walked past Daniel. Past his son. Out into the hallway where he could finally breathe. He doesn't get to be hurt. He doesn't get to play victim here. 5 years too late and suddenly he's the wounded party. No, absolutely not. That night, Jae-sun sat in his hotel room making calls. 3 a.m, couldn't sleep, wouldn't sleep. His mind was racing. He'd made calls to his contacts. His informants, his network that stretched across 3 continents, and what he learned made his blood run cold. The hit was never withdrawn, never cancelled. When Loretta had been declared dead, the case had simply closed. Target eliminated. Payment made to whoever had provided the body. File sealed. But his arrival at the hospital had been noted, recorded. His convoy, his security team. The way he'd carried her through the emergency room doors like she mattered. Rival clan intelligence was very good. They were already asking questions. Who was the woman? Why did Kang Ji's son carry a random accident victim himself? Jae-sun made 3 calls. First, his second-in-command in Seoul. Bring everyone. I need the full security team in Auckland, now. Second, his best informant. Find out who placed the original order. I need a name. Third, hospital security. No one enters her floor without my direct approval. I don't care if they're doctors. I don't care if they're staff. No one. Meanwhile, in Loretta's room, she held Kang Min close, watched him sleep, his little chest rising and falling, peaceful, safe, completely unaware that the monster his mother had run from 5 years ago was back. Daniel sat in the chair beside her bed. He'd been quiet since Jae-sun left, processing, thinking. He's the father. Not a question. Daniel had always been smart, always reading between lines. Loretta nodded, too tired to lie, too broken to pretend anymore. She finally told him everything. What do you want to do? Daniel asked. Supportive as always, never pushing, never demanding, just there. I want to disappear again. Loretta's voice was so tired. I want to take my son and go somewhere Jason will never find us. Can you? Daniel already knew the answer. Loretta looked at the window, saw the cars parked below, black sedans, tinted windows, men sitting inside, waiting, watching. Jason's security team, his guards, his protection that felt more like a cage. I don't think he'll let me. The resignation in her voice mixed with fear. Real fear. And that's the problem, isn't it? He ignored her when she needed him, dismissed her, treated her like furniture. But now that she's built a life without him, he won't let go. Now he suddenly cares. 3 a.m. Kang Min asleep beside Loretta. She was dozing, in and out, the pain medication making everything fuzzy. Daniel had gone home hours ago, just for a shower and a change of clothes. He'd be back. But Jason was now in the hospital hallway, wouldn't leave. He was reviewing security feeds on his tablet, watching camera angles, checking blind spots. His team had already done this, twice, but he checked again anyway. Then the lights flickered, just once. Quick. Could have been nothing, but Jason's instincts were screaming. Years of surviving in a world where hesitation meant death. Years of learning to read the air before violence arrived. The emergency stairs door opened. Wrong floor for visitor hours. Wrong entrance for authorized personnel. 2 men stepped out. Professional, clean, armed. He could see the bulge under their jackets even from 20 feet away. Jason moved. Fast, controlled, precise. Everything his trainer had drilled into him since he was 8 years old. Nurses screamed. Someone hit an alarm. Red lights started flashing. He took the first man down before he could reach for his weapon. Quick strike to the throat. The man dropped. The second one was faster, smarter. Got his gun out. Jason grabbed his wrist, twisted. The sound of breaking bone echoed in the hallway. The gun clattered to the floor. Inside the room, Loretta's eyes snapped open. She knew that sound, knew violence when she heard it. She grabbed Kang Min, scooped him up despite her screaming ribs, shielded him with her body, moved to the corner farthest from the door. The door crashed open. Jae-sun, eyes wild, scanning for threats. We're leaving, now. No room for argument, no time for questions. Jae-sun lifted Kang Min. The boy was scared, crying, didn't understand why this strange man was carrying him, why his mother looked terrified, why there were alarms and lights and chaos. His other hand reached for Loretta, extended toward her. She hesitated, looked at his hand. At the man who'd failed her 5 years ago, now standing between her and whatever danger was coming. Their eyes met. 5 years of running, 5 years of hiding, 5 years of being strong alone. And for the first time in all those years, she took his hand. Not because she forgave him, not because she trusted him, not because anything between them was fixed, because she had no choice, because her son was in danger, because sometimes survival meant accepting help from the man who'd made you need to survive in the first place. Let me be very clear about something. Redemption is not one grand gesture. Redemption is work, daily, humiliating, painful work. So let's watch Jae-sun struggle. Let's watch him earn absolutely nothing and keep trying anyway. Jae-sun's safe house was 40 minutes outside Auckland. He gave Loretta and Kang Min the master suite. Biggest bed, best view, private bathroom, everything they needed. He took the couch. The new dynamic was awkward. Nobody knew how to act. Kang Min was scared, clinging to his mother like a barnacle. This strange place with the strange man and the scary night at the hospital. Too much. Too fast. Too confusing for a 4-year-old brain. Loretta was injured. Jae-sun hovered around them, being useless. Kang Min watched this strange man suspiciously. The man who'd carried him out of the hospital. The man who made his mother look scared and angry and sad all at once. "Who are you?" the boy finally asked. 4-year-old logic cutting through adult nonsense. Jae-sun opened his mouth, started to answer, started to say, "I'm your father," or "I'm someone who cares about your mother," or any of the 1,000 true things he could say. Loretta answered first. "Someone who used to know Mommy." Used to, past tense. Jae-sun's face did something, crumpled just for a second, then went blank. But Loretta saw it, the wound her words left. "That's what he gets. You don't earn the title Dad just because of DNA. You earn it through 3 a.m. fevers and scraped knees and showing up, ___ days past. Everyone was walking on eggshells. Jae-sun learned fatherhood through observation, through watching, through staying quiet and paying attention for the first time in his life. Kang-min hated loud noises, flinched when doors slammed. Trauma from the accident, from the night at the hospital. From too much violence too fast, Jae-sun started closing doors softly, moving quietly, being gentle in a way he'd never had to be. The boy loved dinosaurs, specifically velociraptors, could recite facts about them for 20 minutes straight without taking a breath. Jae-sun ordered books, documentaries, a stuffed velociraptor that was anatomically correct because his son deserved accuracy. Kang-min needed his left sock put on first. Always. Left, then right. Routine equaled safety. Predictability meant control in a world that had just exploded. Jae-sun noticed, remembered, filed it away. But the hardest part? Kang-min asked about Daniel constantly. When is Danny coming? Can I call Danny? Danny knows how to make the voices right when he reads stories. Each mention was a knife to Jae-sun's chest, and reminding him that someone else had been there, someone better, someone who actually knew how to love his family. One night, Kang-min had a nightmare, crying, calling for Danny, I want Danny. Jae-sun stood outside the bedroom door, listening to Loretta comfort their son, her soft voice, her gentle hands, her ability to make everything okay. He wanted to go in. Wanted to help, wanted to be useful, but he wasn't invited, wasn't wanted, wasn't needed. The next morning, he made the hardest call of his life. Daniel? It's Jae-sun. He's asking for you. Can you come? There was silence on the other end. Then, text me the address. Daniel visited that afternoon. Kang-min's face transformed. All the fear and confusion melted away. Pure joy, pure love, the kind of happiness that can't be faked. Danny, the boy ran, or launched himself into Daniel's arms, safe, home, where he belonged. Jae-sun watched, stood in the doorway of his own safe house and watched another man comfort his son. Daniel knew Kang-min's favourite story, did all the voices right, made him laugh, played dinosaurs with the correct sound effects. Everything was natural, easy, earned. Everything Jae-sun wasn't. A week passed. The threat level remained high. Jae-sun's investigators were working around the clock, following leads, tracking down the original order, getting closer. Loretta was healing physically. Emotionally, she remained like walls of steel, a fortress, completely locked down. Late one night, she couldn't sleep. She found Jae-sun awake, sitting at the kitchen table, laptop open, security feeds playing. You don't have to stay up. Her voice was softer than before. Not kind, but not cruel either. Progress. I won't fail again. A vow. A promise to himself more than her. You failed a long time ago. I know. He accepted it, didn't argue, just acknowledged. Silence settled between them. Almost comfortable, like maybe they could exist in the same space without everything exploding. Why didn't you love me? The question came out small, quiet. The thing she'd wanted to know for 5 years, the answer that might actually matter. Jason's hands fisted on the table. Words failed. How do you explain something you don't understand yourself? I didn't know how, he said finally, truth scraping his throat raw. Grandmother said you were temporary, a comfort for her last days. I thought if I didn't... He stopped, swallowed, then tried again. If I didn't feel anything, it wouldn't hurt when you left. Did it work? Loretta already knew the answer. I've felt nothing but pain since the day you died. Jason looked broken, actually broken. The great mafia boss shattered over a contract girlfriend. Good. Loretta stood. She left, went back to the bedroom, closed the door, but she didn't lock it. Is it enough? No. Is it a start? Maybe. Maybe forgiveness begins with unlocked doors and soft words at midnight. Maybe healing starts with truth instead of contracts. 2 weeks after the hospital, Jae-sun found him. The man who'd ordered the original hit, second in command of a rival organization. The one who'd decided Loretta Campbell was acceptable collateral damage in a power play against Jae-sun. He brought the man to his main organization's headquarters, called a tribunal. He revealed the threat, the betrayal, the years Loretta had spent running, the life she'd been forced to build in hiding. The old Jae-sun would have killed him, slowly, painfully, made an example that would echo through the underworld for years. The new Jae-sun delivered him to international authorities. Let justice be legal instead of lethal. Let the system handle what his fists wanted to. Growth. Actual character development happening in real time. He returned to the safe house. Exhausted. It had taken weeks of work. Weeks of negotiations and carefully placed pressure and calling in every favor he'd ever earned. "You're safe now," he told Loretta, handed her the documentation, the proof, the evidence that the threat was gone. Just like that? She didn't believe it. Just like that. He was too tired to explain the work, the cost, the deals he'd made. "We can leave," testing, waiting for the cage door to slam shut. "You were always free to leave." Jae-sun stepped back, physically, giving space, giving choice. Now, that's the difference. He's giving her choice, finally understanding that love isn't possession. Loretta packed their bags that night, folded Kangmin's clothes, gathered their things, the few belongings they'd accumulated in 2 weeks of hiding. Kangmin watched, confused. "Where are we going?" She didn't answer, because for the first time since the hospital, since the accident, since Jae-sun had walked back into her life, she didn't know. She didn't know what she wanted. Didn't know if leaving was running away or moving forward. Didn't know if staying was healing or settling. And didn't know anything except that the man who'd broken her was finally giving her the one thing he'd never given before. Freedom. Okay. This is it. The moment we've been waiting for. But first, let me tell you, the one thing Loretta never told Jae-sun. The thing we need to know before she makes her choice. The secret that changes everything. Morning came. Bags packed by the door. Car ready. Kang-min eating cereal at the kitchen table, swinging his legs, humming a dinosaur song. Daniel arrived to take them home. Jae-sun had arranged it, called him himself, made sure Loretta would have safe transport, made sure his son would have the man he actually loved. More growth, more letting go, more choosing their happiness over his comfort. Kang-min ran to the door. "Danny!" But something was different. The boy stopped. He looked back at Jae-sun, then at Daniel, back and forth. He'd learned to love both. Somehow, in 2 weeks, because children's hearts are bigger than adult fears. "Are you coming too?" Kang-min asked Jae-sun. Simple question, complicated answer. Jae-sun looked at Loretta. Let her decide. Let her have control. She didn't answer, just picked up a bag. Daniel and Jae-sun ended up alone while Loretta said goodbye to the house, checked the rooms, made sure they'd packed everything. "I need to tell you something," Daniel started. Serious, Jae-sun braced himself, prepared for threats, for warnings, for the good man to finally tell him to stay away. "I told you I'm her fiancé," Daniel said. "Yes." Jae-sun remembered the word hitting like a bullet. "We're not together." Daniel dropped the truth, clean, simple. "Not like that." Jae-sun went completely still, stopped breathing, stopped thinking. Daniel explained. Met her when Kang-min was 6 months old. Emergency room. Fever. Fear. Fell for both of them immediately. Completely. The way you fall for people who need you. Asked her to marry him when the boy was 2. Down on one knee. Ring. Everything traditional. She'd said no, but offered something else. Partnership. Co-parenting. Family without romance. Safety without passion. She was broken. Daniel's voice was protective. "You broke her." Jason flinched, took the hit, deserved it. Why are you telling me this? Afraid to hope, afraid to believe this meant anything. Because she's healing. Daniel saw what Jason couldn't. What Loretta might not even see herself. And I won't be the reason she settles again. Again? She settled for your contract. She settled for my safety. Maybe it's time she chooses what she actually wants. Daniel walked away, left Ji-sun standing there, reeling. Can we just appreciate Daniel for a moment? This is what healthy masculinity looks like, supporting someone's growth even when it might mean losing them. Loretta had heard everything. Of course she had. She'd been standing in the hallway, listening. She came out, looked at Daniel. You told him. You deserved better than secrets. Daniel hugged her. Tight, real, brother, friend, family. Both of you did. He left with Kang Min. Ice cream run. Take your time. The bribe worked. Kang Min went willingly, chattering about flavors, completely oblivious to the adult drama happening around him. Alone. It's Jason and Loretta. Again, always coming back to this. The two of them and 5 years of damage. You weren't engaged, recalibrating everything he thought he knew. No. Her chip was up, defensive, ready for judgment. You let me think. You let me drown, she interrupted, fierce, done with his accusations. For months I drowned in your indifference and you never threw me a rope. So yes, I let you think I'd moved on, that I was happy, that someone actually wanted me. Were you? He needed to know, needed to understand if the last 5 years had been worth it. Happy? She considered it. Thought about Daniel's kindness, Kang Min's laughter, the life they'd built, movie nights, park days, stability, safety, everything good and solid and real. I was safe. I was content. But not happy. He read between the lines. I heard what she didn't say. I forgot what happiness felt like. Admitting more than she wanted. He stepped closer, like approaching something wild. She didn't move away. Let me remind you, he said, not demanding, just offering, asking, and hoping. How? She was so exhausted, so tired of fighting. How do I trust you? You don't. Not today, maybe not for years, but let me earn it, let me try. Why? That was the real question, the one that mattered. Why now? Why care now when you couldn't care then? Because I was a coward before. I'm still a coward, but I'd rather be a coward fighting for you than a coward living without you. There was silence, full of 5 years of pain and 2 weeks of possibility. Our son needs stability, Loretta deflecting, hiding behind motherhood. Or our son needs a mother who's alive again. Jae-sun seeing her, really seeing her, actually alive, not just surviving, living. Is this enough? That's her choice, not ours. That's what makes this real. The door opened. Daniel and Kang Min returned. Ice cream success, chocolate on the boy's face, joy in his eyes. Mommy, are we going home? Kang Min asked the question everyone was thinking. Loretta looked at Jae-sun, then at their son, then at Daniel, then at the bags by the door, then at the life she'd built versus the life she'd lost versus the life she might could have. Not yet. 2 words, simple yet powerful. Jae-sun's exhale was audible. Relief, hope, terror, everything at once. Not yes, she clarified quickly, needed him to understand. Not forgiveness, not trust. Not yet is enough. He took the crumb like it was a feast. Like it was everything. Kang Min looked confused. Where are we staying? Loretta looked at Jae-sun, testing, checking. Do you have dinosaur books here? Jae-sun looked at his son. Their son. First real conversation, first real connection. I'll buy every dinosaur book in Auckland. Velociraptors. Kang Min testing too. 4-year-old negotiations, especially velociraptors. Jae-sun made it a solemn vow. Serious and binding. The boy smiled. Small, uncertain, but real. Loretta smiled too. So did she forgive him? Not in this chapter. Not today. Maybe not ever completely. But forgiveness isn't a moment. It's a journey. It's a daily choice. It's deciding that moving forward matters more than staying stuck. And for the first time in 5 years, Loretta was walking towards something instead of running away. And Daniel? He stayed part of that family, because in every way that mattered, he was family. Biology doesn't make fathers. Showing up does. And Daniel had shown up. Now Jae-soon would have to show up too. Every day. Earning trust, building connection, learning how to be a man worthy of the family he'd almost destroyed. And that's the victory. Not the happy ending, the hard beginning, the choice to try. Tell me you're not crying right now, because I absolutely am. This is what real love looks like. Messy, painful, hard-won, real. Drop a comment and let me know what you think. Did Loretta make the right choice? Would you have left? Would you have stayed? I want to hear everything. And if this story hit you the way it hit me, like and subscribe. Because stories like this, stories about women choosing themselves, we need more of them. Until next time, our lovelies, choose yourself. Always choose yourself first.